Yeah, right, exactly. I always, as many times as I've seen him do different versions of the same kinds of things, I always pick something up from each one of them. And particularly because as the market changes, you think kind of in a different direction. Plus you become a little more astute at what you're doing, I would hope. So it's fun watching him do it. We've actually, in all the years that myself and Tim have done this and watched, millions of times, we've never seen him actually do it himself. So that was fun.
I don't know that I would do that whole process was, I think you have to be selective, because, I in my earlier years, I tried to do that with everyone because that's, I was told to do. And so I've got some pushback from those buyers that had gone.
What part are you talking about?
Oh, just sitting down with them and doing kind of the just giving them the folder and kind of going through some of that information before you even go out to buy.
You don't do a buyer interview, sit down with them?
Not as formally as that. I will ask them all the questions that I need to ask them. I obviously go through and ask them what they do, what they make, what their debt is. I kind of get pre-qual them, but I also ask them if they've talked to their lender. I asked them all the questions.
I've never asked anybody what they make or what they do or what their debt is.
You haven't?
No, I just, conversation that I have with them, I have them talk to a lender.
I typically don't ask them off the bat, but once we get it, I will ask them what they do. But then we start talking about
their personal financial stuff. I have never talked with them about it, other than what their goals are and if that has something to do with the amount of money they have. Generally, the amount they have down, but what they make or what their debt is, I completely separate myself from that, and I allow the lender to have those conversations. So it doesn't tend to be, I haven't seen that piece. I let them keep that.
Yeah.
Because when there's challenges,
it's stepping over the line to some degree, but if they're asking me, that's not something that I ask every one of them, but if they're asking me questions about it, I will ask them, the lender will talk to you about income to debt ratio and, kind of talk to, if it's a buyer that just doesn't know that they've asked me before, I will get them into a conversation with them about that. But
about the rest of you guys, just as a conversation, do you have conversations with them about their financials?
I do. Maybe sometimes a little more than I should, kind of like Amy kind of was saying, but at the same time, I'm so young, 23, that I have got tons of people calling me that are anywhere between 20 and 25, just super young, kind of clueless on life and finances in general. And they're like, Emily, I don't have a penny in savings, and I think my credit's a 700, and then we actually pull it and it's like a 550 and 20 lates and not a penny to their name and no job. But I usually am like, okay, are you working? Do you have any money saved up for a down payment? Stuff like that, like general questions. Yeah. But if they want me and they trust me to go deeper, which a lot of my clients do, then I do. I don't know. That's just me.
Would you weigh in on this?
Well, when I was a new agent, we always did it. We always pre-qualified, did a net sheet. I haven't done that in at least 10 years. One, I don't want to. Two, it's whatever I do is not going to be nearly as accurate. So I just don't even ask. I talk about what do they do for a living, that kind of stuff, but
sure.
Never. I don't know if there's anything wrong with it, but it's just not what I would do. But I will say, Amy, I do feel like you said you've had pushback to doing the buyer presentation. I would love to dive into that more because it isn't hard to get pushback buyers presentations. And whenever I have pushback on buyers, sorry, I'm muting people. Whenever I have pushback on buyers presentations, I'll say, which I haven't in a long time, I'll end up forcing them to do it without them even knowing it by meeting at the first house and allowing, us 30, 45 minutes in the first house. If we were looking at multiple houses, obviously it's a different market. But yeah, I would always do it because it just saves you more time. So
Yeah.
Trying to let these people in.
Cool.
I don't give people a choice with the buyer meeting either. I tell them.
You just went mute.
I think that would
I don't give a choice with the buyer meeting either. I tell them if we're working together, the first step is for you to have a meeting with me. And the second step is for you to get pre-qualified with the lender. And those two things are your ticket to go start looking at houses with me.
That's perfect.
And they don't know any different.
Yeah.
And if they want to go out willy-nilly with some rando from the internet, then
Right.
I'm busy enough to work with people who are going to work with me.
Dawn, you've been doing this for a while. I think you kind of jumped in here, but what we're talking about is on buyers' initial conversation, and do you have conversations about their financials, and at what level do you?
So I do the buyer meeting, and so when we meet, I go through market information, their personal information, but I do not delve into their financials. That's what the lender does. So I just make sure that they either are approved or that they get approved right after we meet.
Okay. All right. Okay, it's 11 o'clock and we need to get started because we've got a lot of content here. Thank you for everybody who joined. There was like 11 people on the call watching the video because of our crazy video situation, which I explained to you guys, and we're getting it fixed. So as we speak, Buffini should be getting up and being in their, well, maybe, yeah, their office. It's not snowing outside their window. And fix our problem so we don't have it again, and we won't have it for our 100 Days to Greatness class either. So here we are, week 3. We started with the acres to diamonds. So we found out where business can be. We went through the creating critical mass. Now, what do you do with it? Now that you know where it is, how do you organize it? Which was last week and last week's homework. And then today we were introduced to the purchasing pathway, which is the pathway to utilize all the tools that we have. So hopefully everybody got to watch the video. If you didn't get to watch the video, it will be live now. It should be live today for all of you. In the future, they're going to be live, be accessible to you prior to the class. So we're getting that fixed as quickly as we can. Last week's homework was regarding week 2 homework. We're going to take a little dive into that, not a deep one, but just for a few minutes. And then we're going to break out into breakout rooms and talk about some of the topics that came out of the purchase, the pathway to purchase. So you guys good for that? All right. So last week's homework was regarding creating critical mass, which means that it was time to go into your database and start really looking at making sure it's set up, and start delineating A's, B's, C's, who it is, where's your acres of diamonds, where's your influencers. And I'd kind of like you guys to give us some feedback on what your self-discovery has been in doing that. The actual activity piece of that was write 10 notes, add 5 A+ clients that you've identified in your database that they really are A+ clients, or people that refer you, and just what your discoveries were this past week regarding your database and that whole theory of creating critical mass. So Sarah, I think you answered the question on what Rhonda had sent out about how do you reward your referrals, which is the people that you're looking for from the database. So you want to speak a little bit to that, and then we'll have we'll have some feedback on what everybody was kind of discovered this week in there.
Sure. So when I get a referral, the first thing I do is think where it came from. I usually call that client and thank them. And then I immediately, like, obviously reach out to the referral, get that relationship set up. And then I usually send like a thank you card with, I mean, I have been like doing gift cards in the past. I think I'm going to try to branch out. And then I always, anyone that gives me a referral, I set them up on the magazine subscription too. So, and then I'll renew it for anyone that continues to. So I'll set it for a year, and if they send me another one, I'll continue to renew it.
So even if you get a subscription from somebody out of the area or your family or somebody that's not even like a buyer or seller referral to you.
Anyone that sends me a referral.
That's fantastic. I like that idea.
It's so simple to
Yeah.
send that. So we're just working to renew do the ones from 2020.
Okay.
And then I usually, send a card and try to, like, say, hey, have lunch on me, have a coffee on me, whatever I'm doing. I like the idea of maybe thinking outside the box too, and dropping off plant or, fun activity for the kids, whatever it may be.
What kind
And
of
then,
cards do you send?
what's that?
What kind of gift cards do you send when you send them?
I like Blackstone, so I always try to like get people exploring that area or an area I like. I will do like, a gift card to the Switch, or like I'll probably, this month I'll probably do something like $100 gift card to the Drover because we're gonna promote or a small business. I'll do ice cream on me, or movie. I did a lot of movies on me. Like I would do like a family 4 package, but I haven't been doing that with COVID. So it just depends. Like usually I'll like pick a restaurant I like and advocate for them to check it out.
I like that local bend that you've got on it. I think that's really, really good.
Yeah. So, cause this month we featured Village Grinder, and so everything tied back to them. And next month we're featuring the Drover. So everything will tie back to that.
Cool.
And then I obviously keep them updated. So once I'm under contract, I send them usually a text and say, hey, just to let you know, we're under contract. Thanks again for being, an advocate for my business. And then once we close, I'll update them again. So.
And then do you put them in a particular group in your CRM?
So, well, I just started getting back in there and labeling everyone, but yes, I am moving those people to my A+ and making sure that they're on my Popeyes.
Fantastic. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Emily, you're raising your hand.
I have a question for Sarah. I think that's like the stuff you're saying is like super good idea, like movie on me and stuff. I've got a couple clients that send me constantly a million referrals, and I get like 1% of them approved, but either way, they're constantly sending me referrals. Do you do it every time? Like that would get expensive, or how do you handle that situation?
Yeah, or you could just do like the magazine subscription because they're going to get something monthly. That's so easy. They have no idea what that costs. And then I have so many people text me and be like, I love getting the magazine monthly. Or, you don't have to do it I even have clients, I'll be like, hey, what's your favorite restaurant? They'll even say, we're not expecting anything in return. So you don't always have to do it, I suppose, but I like to.
And $5 coffee cards are great if you have just a pile of, because that's just, it's a good cup of coffee or a latte or something. But if you have enough of those $5 ones, that's pretty easy. But I believe in in rewarding every single referral.
Mm-hmm.
And it, I mean, I know you're kind of exaggerating with 1 million, but there can't be too many, other than if you want to help that person kind of help you delineate the quality of what comes in and how that is. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Do a cookbook, Better Homes Gardens cookbook, like find Better Homes and Gardens product too, tie it back.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get some input on what I just was asking you guys about, like what you got from all of the deep diving into your creating critical mass in your CRM, and what questions you have or what challenges it created for you. Okay.
And you had to have also established, kind of figured out who your best advocates are.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I went through the process, I discovered who my advocates are. And I really liked just figuring out who your calling them advocates feels right.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Also, the biggest part, it seems like when I went through, I like the fact that you're going through in B's and trying to make those people your advocates. And so those are the people that I'm also trying to like connect with right now. And I've been surprised, like, even if I send a text message, they're like, oh, but just remember, I'm always referring you. And I don't know that,
Yeah.
And so then I can move them up and be like, oh, they are an advocate, and then focus on them for Popeyes, things like that. So I like the idea of establishing Bs, not realizing that you're working on those to become A's and A pluses.
I think you can also down the road is spend some time helping to make your referrers better referrers and teaching them how to refer you versus, something that is they give your name out, but how to actually connect it back to you. That's a really important step, and you can move people up into much better quality of the referral. So, okay, who else? Okay, I'm gonna call on you. Who wants to volunteer?
Jessica did one of those boards the other day. I saw she posted on Facebook. That was a good idea. One of those
Yeah.
like meat and cheese boards.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like
Those
a local
are
place.
dynamic. I've done those boards and they're not cheap to do. So that gal does them for $60. Those were really, really good. Hey, Steve,
did.
go ahead. Because you and I talked.
I've got some good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some. I mean, one of my like spheres or whatever you want to call it, or my hubs of advocates, which is kind of nice, is the tattoo parlor, like where I get my tattoos done. And so again, this year and tomorrow, I'm going to get some more work done. And so I'm bringing in, their top most liked photos of their tattoos from Instagram I looked for of the last year. And then so I'm having like the tattoos made into cookies, like screen rice printed onto the cookies, and then delivering them, and then mixed in with like pictures, cookies with my logo on them. And then like they can hand them out to their clients and stuff while they're getting tattooed tomorrow during the day, and yada, yada, yada. And I mean, that's only like $35, but then I did one, or I'm doing one next week where I've got like server lingo from back, like working in restaurants. And so the few restaurants I worked at before becoming a realtor, I'm getting cookies made with like, like how long, corner, hands, like all these things that are like server lingo stuff. And then I'm just going to drop those off at all the restaurants for all the cooks and like the servers and stuff to eat throughout the shifts. And then I'm going to get on a routine of like trying to do things, you know what I mean? Of like that, of like finding advocates, but finding advocate hubs so that I'm really like, capitalizing on those kind of areas. And those are cheap Popeyes too.
Boom, boom. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Hey, Ethan, you got to have some diamonds in your database there. How was your journey into it?
Trying to find those diamonds under my feet. So
they're right there.
they are. No, what I have done is I'm very guilty of referring. Of what stuck with me most from that was probably just rewarding the referral, not the result. Because oftentimes I don't do anything for you if the referral doesn't buy or sell. And that's really stupid. So I just need to, like on those buy, sell, trade sites, if somebody's looking for a realtor, I'm really going to actively try to send something to everyone that shouts my name out on those things, because that's been a little bit of a gold mine, just those buy, sell, trade sites getting in front of those people. Was able to take 2 of those this weekend, by the way, and had 2 buyer meetings. one off of Omaha Buy Sell Trade and one off of Papillion Buy Sell Trade. Got in front of them this week. And not only did we get in front of them, we secured them as clients, and we also asked them for referrals. So
Good.
haven't got any yet, but it's early. So
Planted the seed, for God's sake. You can't lay into the shade of the tree yet.
yeah, so I'm really getting more into the mindset, because I realize, listening to you guys, how much I am dropping the ball on sending out that positive reinforcement to people. Other than saying something nice, I need to do something for them, and definitely develop and encourage those advocates in that behavior.
One thing that helps me is I have like a little stack of coffee cards or whatever somebody else has also sent me. I save those. I got 2 $50 road steakhouse. I don't eat meat, steak meat kind of things. So I just put them in my little pile, and I'll re-gift them. But I have this little pile, and then I have personal notes that are already they look like this, that sit right by my desk, and the notes are in them. My business card is in them, and this is in them, and I just I'll grab one, stick a note, stick a little reward card, and that's it. It makes it so much easier. I
love it.
To go out to the mailbox. I have to make things easy for myself. Mm-hmm. So as few steps as possible is what you have to do. And even having them in your car, like in your side pocket of your car, and you just take one, and when somebody, calls you when you're on your way to something, just put their name down on it and then do it later. So make it easier on yourself. But that's a great revelation from that, is reward the referral, not the result. Mm-hmm. And then put them into that category like Sarah was just talking about. Now you've got people that you're feeding into your A+ category. So when you want to break those people out and say, okay, these are my influencers and these are my advocates, that's you just go for those. It's so much easier to handle that smaller pack instead of trying to remember who referred me last year and who refers me over and over again. So yeah, good stuff.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I just was curious how you guys approach the referrals. I get a lot of referrals, and I send them just like Sarah. I send them a card with the gift card. I call them first. I send a gift card and a note in the mail as a follow-up. And I obviously, start moving on the referral. And so I do all that. I get and I get the referrals, but my issue is I'm at the point where I want to get more A+. I don't know how to ask. I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm out there to gain something. It doesn't make me authentic, and it really bothers me because I don't know how to. I take really good care of my clients, and I genuinely love them all, and I have very good friendships with them. I keep in touch with them via Instagram and Facebook, and notes. I write notes all the time to them, and I call them and text them. We go to lunches, but I don't know how to ask them for a referral.
Who wants to speak to that?
I'd actually be really happy to. Oh, sorry, Sarah, you can.
No, you go ahead.
Well, one thing that I've started doing is especially with my business advocates, or the people that I do business with, I've decided to ask them, what does your best referral look like? Like, how can I best refer someone to you? And that automatically kind of sends this symbiotic, or I'll say, this is how one of my clients will literally, if he's going to send me a referral, he'll email the both of us and put all of our information in the email. And I'll say, does that work for you if I send you a referral like that? Do you prefer that method? So I'm teaching them how I want it, but I'm actually giving them something. And I think that that's it. If you give first and then you ask, I mean, I understand it's uncomfortable, but I also think it's going to stay uncomfortable until you still start doing it. But maybe that's a start for you, is like, go to your business people.
Yeah, that's a great way to start. And obviously giving to others will organically hopefully reciprocate.
So this is a great conversation we're starting here, and it's a perfect time for us to go into breakout sessions, and you guys can continue this conversation. And the conversation is going to be based on two different things. How do you reward referrals? What is your process, and all of these things around referrals? That's number one. And then number two is, what is it that you got from, or that you opened up to from this week's video regarding the purchaser pathway that is challenging you right now, and how are you overcoming that? Okay, so talk about the referrals. How do you reward them? What do you do with them? And the purchase pathway. What's a challenge right now for you? And how are you overcoming that? And whoever is overcoming it or coming up with some little tricks, let's talk. You guys go and talk about that. Somebody take the lead in each one of the rooms, and then we'll come back and we'll share. Got it?
Carol,
Kim?
I
Yeah.
need you to make me full host real quick so that I can do the breakout rooms.
Okay.
Hey,
You are now a full host.
this is Jane McNeil. I have to, I can't do the breakout rooms. I have to go do another Zoom real quick. So I'll try to jump back on after that's over. So.
I'll
Great.
watch for you. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Carol, how many rooms should I do? There's 22 people.
There's 22. Do
4 rooms of 5.
do four
Or-
rooms, and you can put yourself in one and put me in one if you want, and we'll just watch or something, because I don't know if I'm not the host, I can't go
How
back.
many
And
do you want in each room? 4 to 5?
4 to 5, yeah.
Here we go, everybody.
Yeah.
And I am doing it. And Jane, when you got to go, just go. Or did she already went? Okay. Here we go. Bye. Now, you should all be going away. Golly. Here. I forgot to look at the clock when I sent you guys into the meetings, period. Was it 11:20 a.m. as planned, question mark? That was normally gonna bring you back at 11:40 a.m. Is that too early, question mark? He was to be honest. Ainsley. Oh, Ainsley. Ainsley. I call her Ainsley.
No.
Sorry.
Wow, there's never enough time, is there?
No.
It goes by fast.
I know. Tim, were you in a room?
I tried, it wouldn't let me, so I just kind of
Oh.
watched. So.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's get going and get some feedback from the rooms. Tim, you have the list of the rooms. I
That's
don't
right.
have. I know who was in room one that was the speaker because I was in there, and it's Steve for us.
Sorry.
Here's a little summary of the room, Steve.
It was room one was Amy Ketchum, you, Crystal Luther, Laura Osborne, and Steve Solowak.
Yep.
Does somebody
so-
other than Carol like to speak up?
Yep, I got it.
Yeah, Steve.
So the first question of like, how do you reward? I mean, everyone kind of went through like their own thing. Of course, it was, a lot of gift cards, coffee gift cards, that kind of thing. But then we kind of segued into how some of us struggle and some people like struggle with actually asking for referrals. And then so some of the other ones of us gave good insight onto how we do it and like how we kind of customize it, or like different things that we do to ask for a referral or get the referral word in front of their eyes, because it's uncomfortable for a lot of people, which is valid.
Hey,
and
Steve, talk
so-
about what you do with the hashtag in your.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, because I hate, let's just be really clear, like from Buffini last year or whatever, you take what you like and you leave the rest, right? That's my goal with every kind of training or education or anything. And so, you get your stickers, oh, by the way, this or this. And at the beginning of last year too, I tried it, and it's just, I'm a server. Like I can see it on people's faces when they either check out, either because what I'm saying isn't authentic or it's not me, and they know that I'm just saying it just to say it. And it wasn't me, those words weren't me. And then so I wasn't doing it at all, and for a while, and it doesn't feel right not doing it at all. And so I asked my husband, he's the director of marketing for a software company, and he said, there's data, there's all these things, there's science behind the word refer in stimulating your job and your business. And so I'm like, all right, well, I can get behind that. And so I think that the word refer and referral is great, but I do, I get my own note cards, little postcard things made, and then on the bottom, it just says, can you see that? Probably not. Can you see that? No.
No.
There you go.
There you go.
It just says hashtag referrals. You know what I mean? That's it. That's funny. It's cute. It's cheeky. It's on the bottom. They see it every single time, and it's there. And then we were going over some of our, what do you call it? Dialogue we do at closing and stuff, or prior to closing, asking for referrals. And, Carol made some good points about like, as long as you know what your intention is when you're asking for the referrals, then when you say it, it's going to come across right. So, for me, it's, you know, thank you for, I work by, in my mind, I'm thinking, thank you. I want these referrals because I don't want to buy Zillow leads. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do cold calls. Like, I don't want to do that. So if I have that in my mind, that little bit of fear, is going to kick me in the ass to be like, ask these people for referrals and do it in a way where you're going to get a result. So that was really cool. And that was a really good conversation because everyone has a little bit different way. And because, oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for referrals. It's a great jumping off point, but it just, if all of us are always saying that, then it loses its shine. So there's a way to tweak it, and that's kind of cool.
So one of you had said that about when a pop star like Britney first.
Oh, that was me.
That was you. Yeah. Say that, because I thought that was
okay.
Cool.
Well, it's kind of like, you guys are gonna think this is so stupid. So, all right. So Britney and Christina Aguilera, of course, in Pink and stuff. So, you know, like their first albums are always like the pop produced albums that like they do everything and they just go through and they're whatever. And so like, by no means am I Britney Spears circa 2001, but I think that, you know, you go through your first year or two and you see all this stuff. And then at like year 2, when they do their like, you know, breakout and they get super sexy and start stripping and stuff, like, and that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now, just not completely paralleled. But it's the same thing with real estate and this stuff, right? Like you take a little bit of whatever, some of that's true, and then you interweave it so it still feels like you. So yeah. I'm going to start stripping for my clients now. Is really what
that was my point. Is you comes later. Right now, just do the dialogues and then you come later. So I'm
just going to start signing my name for referrals. I'm going to get headshots made and just sign them and send them to people as their thank you for their referral. That's what I'm doing. Thank you. I've had a breakthrough today. Thank you, everyone.
Referrals. Tim,
thank you.
The next one.
What's that?
The next group leader person.
Kara Crawford, Emily Ware, Ethan Brown, and Sarah Paddle.
All right, who's got it?
Okay, so I guess I'm talking for a little bit. We also talked about, I just had referral cards made, but I kind of mine explained like what being a realtor means to me and like what my services are beyond just like finding a house. And then I, you know, thank them by telling them that, you know, their referral just solidified that I'm doing my job correctly and what I strive to achieve for. So I started these to hand out, which is kind of nice and easy. Just have a bunch of them. We also talked about making sure you have item of value to provide, even if you're meeting with a buyer for the first time. Because if you have an item of value, but the other agent they might be meeting doesn't, you just stood out in a different way. Emily was talking about also just like doing nice things for people, but I think learning how to cut off for that. So like if your client is, one thing you could do, sorry, I'm losing track, but make sure when you're in the process with working with your client, ask for the referral then. I haven't done that, but I just did that for the first time in 8 years where I was like, I'm taking measurements and I made sure to hand them a stack of my cards. It's like, they were saying all these nice things. I was like, by the way, you know, here's my new cards. Like, make sure, because then you're top of mind at that time. But Emily was also saying that, you know, she goes above and beyond to do things, even like helping her clients move or, you know, cleaning their houses. But she feels like she's being taken advantage of a little bit. And like, what's the right way to cut that off? And I think it's always nice if you're seeing your client unhappy somewhere to offer something, but you have to know when to cut that off. Offering a house cleaning is one thing. Paying for your clients to move, that's a whole nother ballgame. So we're trying to help her with that. I don't know. Does anyone have to chime in? Am I kind of like dragging off subject?
Who else is in your group? Chime in.
I've just had clients say in the past, like, oh, we're closing on our listing 2 days before our new house and it's all your fault. So you need to pay for a hotel for us when I already set up the right expectation, did it right. Or we didn't know we had to get movers and we can't afford that. Or, hey, you have a boyfriend, right? He can come help us move our washer and dryer in, right? For free. So that's stuff I'm struggling with right now is that people either think I drip money or maybe I'm just too nice. I don't know. That sounds bad, but you know what I mean? So that's what I'm struggling with.
You nailed it, Emily. Honestly, in my opinion, it's that struggle of like too nice. I mean, because we're kind of like the same range of like newity, right? Like you're like a year and a half in or something, right?
Yep.
Kind of.
Yep.
And so I have the perfect example that happened this week is that I had a client who I listed their house last year and she didn't want to buy a house last year and we were listing it. And so I actually showed her rentals that I wasn't making any money on, setting up these showings and showing her these rentals. Because I was planting the seed because she was planning on buying after the lease was up this year. Cool, not a problem. Well, she texted me again just this last week and she's like, we're done with this rental and I want to look at a few of these other rentals. I'm just not worried about buying. Mind you, she wants to rent it. She's okay with spending $2,300 a month, but not okay with buying a $200,000 house. Neither here nor there. But so she called me and she was like, yeah, can you set up this? And I'm like, actually, all those are just owned by independent people. You can call them and then without feeling like a jerk, because I just could see myself getting ready for all these showings. I was like, text me when you've got those showing times. And, if I've got some time where I can squeeze it in, or maybe I can Facebook video it through to like check it out and walk through and see some stuff with you. But I never brought up money, even though I really wanted to, but I didn't. But I did the same thing. I mean, I bent over backward. I cleaned some people's houses these last few months. And I'm like, I don't want to set the tone where if those people refer me, they're like, oh, he even cleaned our house for us. I'm not cleaning nobody's house, man. No, ma'am. I don't clean my
Boundaries
house.
is
I'm
going
not
to be
cleaning
something
anyone's
that
house.
boundaries
Nope.
is going to be something that we're going to
Next.
talk about
That's true.
along the way. Tim and I are going to have a conversation about this.
But I struggle with it too,
back to
Emily.
you guys, but this is going to be a huge piece of whether you make this market work or not. So,
That's true.
okay, Tim, who's the next group?
Room 3, Darla, Jess Walker, Julie Thurston, and Rhonda.
Yeah, I want to get everybody, all the groups in and still kind of stay within our time. So
We have 2 more after that.
yes.
So we should-
Who's your speaker, you guys?
Oh boy, I guess I could speak.
Okay.
I hate speaking. We talked a lot about our referrals and how we rewarded our referrals. I think a lot of us were on the same page with we were only rewarding them for like a closing, or after we got to a certain point, we weren't really rewarding the action. And so I said, even last week I had the perfect time where I got 3 referrals all last week. And instead of waiting to see where the lead was going to go, where the referral was going to go, I actually right away, called, text, and then followed up with a gift within the first 24 hours of getting that referral. One thing that we talked about, which we still, we all kind of said we need some direction on that. So somebody had mentioned that they talk about their referrals, like the person that referred them to you, you kind of update them, just what to update them with. Because I don't, in this market, we're losing 3 or 4 offers, before we get one, or one might fall through, or so just kind of, how we up, I said, I don't want to say too much about what's going on or not enough, but I've never actually updated the person that sent the referral where those people were at in the process. So maybe just kind of like, I think Darla had mentioned, you don't have to necessarily say, oh, they lost another offer, but just say, oh my goodness, I was out with, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, and I learned that they have, a couple dogs, and, just update them that way. And, everything went well, something like that. So that's something a couple of us had mentioned we need to implement a little bit more on the referral side of it.
Who wants to speak to that's doing that well? Jen
I'll
Tucker?
make a comment.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
I had a client that referred somebody twice to me last year. And he actually went back to see if we were talking about what him and I were going through on the housing market. So I would probably say, be cautious how much you do tell the referral person or the person that was referred to you, because some people don't want that person that they referred over to know everything about their business either. Mm-hmm. So, because she even told me she worked with this guy, and she said she would ask me questions, and I said, well, what did he tell you? And she says, well, he is checking to see what you will tell me about what was going on, because we lost a few deals and he didn't want her to know about it. So I'm always cautious about how much. I just say, oh, we're still looking. We haven't found anything yet because of the market. So I'm cautious about what I tell the refer person about the person they referred.
And I think it makes a difference if the referral came from a realtor who you're working with to get to coordinate things on the other side of their purchase or their sale on the other side. So yes. Anybody else have any feedback on that? Otherwise,
I always connect with my referrals. Anybody that sends somebody to me, I always connect immediately when I make contact with a referral. I think they need to know that my action, my timeline from the time that they sent me that person's name to the time that I connected to them is quick. That way they know that their referral is top of mind for me. And I do agree with Terry. I am very judicious about information because at the end of the day, if it's confidential to our clients, we're not sharing that. But I will touch base with my person who has referred them out and just said, hey, just to give you a heads up, we're still working together towards, trying to get them a house, and I'll keep you posted as things progress. And really, they don't really want to know too much. They just want to know that your client, their referrer has just been connected, like they're talking. And I always connect with them after closing, and I just say, hey, I just wanted you to know Susie Smith closed today. It was such an exciting day for them, and thank you so much for the opportunity. And usually, a lot of times they're my A+ guys that are sending them over, so they're people that I really are staying close with. But I don't give them any specifics as far as activity on how many offers we've written and if we've lost out and those kind of things. I keep it very general. And usually the A+ that are referring you aren't wanting those details. They just want to know that you're talking to the person that they sent you. So giving them that ease of mind. They don't need the details. That's what I do.
Thanks, Jennifer. We really appreciate it. Okay, we got to move on because we're running over. Break room 4, Allison Roach, Jennifer Tucker, Sam, and Terry Pruitt.
I got it. We don't have anything too unique to contribute to the referral discussion. We talked a lot about the purchase pathway and the challenge being once it's time to show them houses, there's not a hell of a lot to show them. So how do you keep momentum? So because of the inventory that we have. So Jennifer's team is focusing on generating more listings for all of us. Sam wants us to refer all of our clients to him and Council Bluffs because it's easier to get something under contract. Sounds good. And one thing that Carol taught me was sometimes you've got to pick out and just say, can I have an hour or 2 of your time on Saturday morning? We're going to pick the best 3 houses that we can find and just go look at them and just keep knocking them out that way. So just set the appointment and then fill the houses in the day before, 2 days before. So you're at least getting the time and getting in front of the client. And I've had great success actually getting stuff under contract using that method, getting people out there when they're not compelled to see a particular house.
When the rates are already on.
Sam also mentioned that he has success building rapport with other agents has helped him with finding stuff and getting stuff under contract and helping get stuff for people to actually look at.
Yeah.
That's what we got.
Cool.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, our last group is Dawn Grimshaw, Paulina Koizich, Sarah Pierce, and Serena.
Okay, so again, we don't have anything super breakthrough, but we just talked about getting better at updating people and having some kind of a tracking system. Sarah had mentioned she uses tasks in Dotloop to make sure that she's having some kind of touch points with the people who referred somebody to her throughout the transaction. So that was really good. And then we had talked about like what people do for, gifts or whatever, and different ideas that people had. But I think that we kind of talked about that enough as a group. And the one thing that kind of came to my mind that we didn't talk about in our group, but somebody else just mentioned it, about how to ask for a referral when you're working with people is when I do a buyer meeting or a listing appointment, I talk about how I work by referral. That's how I do business. And that I want to do such a great job for them that they want to refer me their friends and family. And so by setting that up at the very, very, very beginning, it isn't so awkward when you're in the transaction or even after the transaction and you're still talking about, hey, give me a referral. So that might be something that you guys could incorporate. And then for the purchase pathway, we did talk about how we thought it was kind of weird that, you know, Brian says we should keep showing houses after we've got somebody under contract, and that none of us thought that was a very good idea, but that was about it.
Good. So you guys did some fantastic work. Obviously, we could, you know, have these conversations for hours and hours on end, and you can. So take these conversations to each other, take them to our Facebook page, and let's just continue to keep talking about this, particularly this week. Next week is going to be the ultimate pricing presentation and some really, really good dialogues, probably some of the best dialogues that I continue to use and some new ones that I have not used. So we all know we're under this same umbrella of, oh my God, there's no houses to sell. So I would think that the obvious would be what we need to do and what our job is to get more people to list their homes for all of us, not just for me. You know, when I get a listing, it's not always because I have a buyer. So if each one of us just focused on doing that, I think we would be in really good shape, because there's nothing worse right now than getting a phone call from somebody that says, I want to buy a house, I'm FHA, and I want to buy something under 200,000. Like that used to be like a day of like just a blessing, but now it doesn't feel like that. So let's just get more of that out there and rolling. And thank you all for all the work that you're doing and for your contributions, and for more than anything, your transparency and vulnerability and saying what you're struggling with. The one thing that I think that Brian said in this last one that we should all keep remembering is to keep our clients emotionally unattached from the sales, either the listing sale or the buying sale, until it's a done deal, because that's probably going to be driving a lot of things. And as agents, and I have to say this last message, I think it would be more beneficial for us to, in order to keep the calm in the marketplace and not keep fear going, is to do less posting about how we sell houses in 15 minutes with 5,000 offers, and more like posting about the what a benefit it is to your clients to be getting a new home. So, because I think there's a lot of people that are going to back off in the marketplace because they see all these things. And as realtors, honestly, we all know that it's no miracle is happening that we're selling houses in 15 minutes to 20 buyers. So I think for the sake of the marketplace, that the better we utilize our language in order to encourage people and not create fear, the better off we're going to be. So that's my public announcement for today. But hopefully that helps to feed all of us so that we can feed each other with more listings and get more people off the fence and out from under the houses that they're scared of. So, okay. Anything else, you guys?
It's really quick on that, what you were just chiming in. I remember Diane Hughes listed that one in Field Club, and like I remember talking to her after, and she had all showings begin on this open house. Remember this? I mean, that caused such a frenzy. You had a line down the street, and it actually deterred her getting an offer quicker than she thought. I mean, she may have one now, but people were so intimidated by how many people they saw that they just assumed they were going to have to write over asking, and they backed off. So sometimes I don't think it's beneficial to just say all showings begin at an open house, because it's creating too much frenzy.
Absolutely. And I understand, like we won an offer yesterday for our clients. Our clients won an offer that was 25 offers. And I'm not going to put anything out on Facebook, because there's other people that are probably really sad that they didn't get it. There's just so many other things around that besides promoting that, the good things and the helpful things and tips to help people to get a house and things like that. So I think everybody knows that we're doing our job and that we're pretty good, but let's stand out with the value that we really create to help people to get what they want, versus all of our successes are great. I love that. I think it's great to be successful, but right now our job is a little more at an emotional level that we have responsibility for, and everybody's going to get what they need. So I think it's just the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Tim, you got any final?
I don't. I mean, I hope you guys are all enjoying the class. You're all Buffini alumni. You've always all taken more than one. So I hope you're all finding this is good new content. And
this will be recorded and up in the are you going to put this on the page as well as up in the library, Tim?
No, I've just been putting them on. I'm sorry, I've just been putting them on the YouTube page. The
Okay,
YouTube,
that's fine. Yeah.
that's
So
fine.
if you want to watch it again, go to the YouTube page, and we're still trying to figure out if we can figure out a way to get the breakout rooms recorded, because then we can see all of them. So, all right. Okay. See you guys next week.
Yeah,
We're here for you if you need us.